Oh, Mr. Grayson, I think I missed you though. Oh, my bad. Oh, there we go. We're doing the things. We're doing the things. So I'm trying to figure out how to make technology work for me, and how to stream on multiple platforms at the same time. So we got TikTok going, we got Facebook going, we got YouTube going. We're making it happen. And here we are for another edition of the Mindfulness Power Hour, where we are working to talk about all things mental health, where we are working on challenging ourselves to find that mindfulness in our day. What can we do mindfully? What kind of activities can help us strengthen that mindfulness ability, right? Because mindfulness is a choice, right? You have to choose to do it mindfully. Just check in with your senses, right? To not allow the invasive, intrusive, automatic thoughts to bombard and overwhelm you, right? It takes a conscious effort to make those things happen. It just does. Uh, so yeah, here we are. Here we are again, episode 38, making it happen. Chasing that dream, right? Of trying to be the change I want to see in this world. Of trying to put discussing and talking about our mental health first and foremost, and front and center in our day and our lives, right? Our world is so volatile. It is so complex and topsy turvy. We need to take those moments, those times to take a breather, to take a time out, and take a time in for ourselves. And that's what this live stream's about, right? What is our self care? What does our self care look like? What are our goals and aspirations? What are our wins, our losses, our gains, our successes? What is it that we want to talk about in terms of our mental health, in terms of bettering ourselves and making our world the reality in which we want to see it, right? Because life is a choice, right? It really does boil down to a series of choices, and one of the biggest things I hope all yins are able to choose is self care, right? That's an important thing. It really, really is. Um, so in terms of me, what I've got going on, last week was the first time, and I think a long time, I got all four of my main lifts in, right? So that's deadlift day, bench press day, overhead press, and squat day. So that's pretty awesome. I got all 4 days in. I just got to the office a little late, which is why we're not going to be able to do a full hour. But I just got to the office from a bike ride, where I was out pedaling my bike. My buddy Ronald McDonald just fixed it for me, so that was pretty cool. Um, you know, um, so I haven't been able to ride my bike since the spring. Now, I have done other riding around the city, other things like that, but it was the first bike on my bike that I've had all summer. So that felt pretty cool. I did about 8 miles. So we'll see how the legs feel. It might have been a little too much for the first ride in a long time. I might have, done it myself a little better. Had to take it a little bit of it easier. But it's just so pretty out. And I was riding on that Westmoreland Heritage Trail over in Murraysville, Export, and Roval area. I parked at the Trafford BY Park area, and pedaled it into towards Roval. I don't think I hit the Murraysville section. I don't think went that far. I only had a little bit of time. I had to get back to work. Uh, but it's such an interesting mix of nature and modern society, right? Because you're in the woods, it's pretty, it's beautiful. You got the Babylon Brook, pretty water, all that amazingness. And then there's turnpike, you know what I mean? It's 22. So it's just an interesting mix on that trail. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Joe. Good to see you guys. Hope life is going well. Thank you for checking out the live stream. Here to talk about our mental health, right? Talk about our mindfulness, right? What are we doing to invoke that mindfulness, to keep ourselves grounded, to check in with our senses, right? And I definitely tell you, that bike ride today, it was one of those challenges of to find that mindfulness, right? Because there is all this wonderful nature around me. There's the Babylon Brook, right? There's the cars streaming by. There's cool graffiti in the tunnel, right? There's just a lot of things to take in. But I'm a busy dude. I got a lot of things going on. I got a lot of things to do. It can be a challenge sometimes to do it all. to fit it all in, right? And sometimes when I'm trying to be, um, you know, helpful and beneficial, it can kind of go sideways. So yeah, so that was what I've been up to for self care. Uh, Sorry, I have this thing on my computer that is attached to my phone. So for ADHD brain, when I have a thought of a message I need to send, a text I didn't get to, somebody I forgot to check in with, one of those things that I've been able to do is pull up this app on my phone, right? Not on my phone, on the computer that is connected to the phone, and I can send text messages. I can send messages back and forth that way. And what's cool about that is instead of having to pull up the phone, which that soul sucker that's very distracting, I can just take care of it real quick on the computer. So I had a thought real quick because tonight in Plumboro, we are lucky enough, grateful enough to have acoustics at the amphitheater. We're gonna have live music in Plumboro, right? It's gonna be pretty awesome. We have that awesome amphitheater at our borough building, and we're gonna be putting it to good use tonight with Kevin and Pat. Um, Hold on. See, it worked. It happened, and then I got distracted because it came up on my phone. Wow. Oh, I fucked this stream up apparently by doing that. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's back on there. All right, all right. Sorry. Life never ends. I wear many, many hats, and we have that borough event coming up tonight. There's been a threat of rain, so some of the things have changed in terms of what the logistics are. We had the brewery bow out because of the weather. So me and the assistant borough manager are conspiring what we can do now that the rain has taken our brewery, because we still would like to, have people have refreshments. So yeah. But yeah, so welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Mr. Ryan. I am the Yinzer therapist from Akas West Wellness. I am an LPC, a licensed professional counselor, certified sound healer, certified meditation teacher, certified in personality disorders, also certified in electrical behavioral therapy. Um, and what I like to do is try to take the magic that happens in my therapy office. Um, and take it to as wide of an audience as possible, right? To be able to help as many people as possible. There's only so many people that I can fit in one day. There's only so many people I can put in this office on my caseload. But when I have downtime, when I have gaps in my schedule, when I have cancellations, I am able to utilize platforms like this to reach a much wider, bigger audience. Because if it's not evident to any yins guys out there, this world needs a healing, right? This world needs some help figuring out how to regulate its emotions. This world needs some help figuring out how to resolve its conflicts, right? This world needs some help figuring out how to process its trauma, right? And be civil and respectful to each other. Right, we spend so much time at each other's throats, arguing, fighting with each other, failing to realize just how similar we really all are, and that's what this live stream's about. Uh, It's a safe space to talk about whatever, anything we need to related to mental health. It's a gathering space to recognize our wins, our losses, our successes, right? Um, all these things, right? So let's let's make it happen. All right. So you guys tuning out there, right? What is your self care looking like? What investments are you making in yourself? Right? How are you working to better yourself and better your existence? Um, as life is a series of choices, right? We may not be able to predict our outcomes, right? Well, sorry, we may not be able to predict the future, but we can improve our outcomes, right? We might not know what happens next, but we can increase our odds, right? Um, I know one of the biggest reasons I work out the way I do and power lift the way I do and bike ride the way I do now that I got my bike back, right? The reasons I do those things um, is because I don't want to die of a heart attack when I'm 40, right? I want to live as long as possible, right? I want to hedge my bets and increase my odds and longevity of being around here as long as possible, right? So I work hard to avoid the deep fried food. I work hard to get the exercise in. I work hard to have that positive mindset. And that's what I'm trying to bring here, right? Trying to bring to all yins guys out there. And let's talk about our mental health. What is your self care looking like? What investments, how are you making in yourselves? Um, Got an awesome plans you got for this weekend. All right. I know for me, it has been one heck of a summer. Um, I've been busy, running. It has been one thing after another, ups and downs, backs and forths. There was pretty much a 6 week stretch there where I didn't work a full week. Um, I didn't work a full week, and every weekend I was pretty much out of town. Whether it was camping with the family, whether it was going to see my favorite band Fish, um, whether it was attending the the anime convention, right? So, so yeah. So it's been a busy summer. So I know as my kids are preparing to go back to school next week, I am working to kind of get my wits about me again, um, figure out where I want to go, what I want to do. I know one of the things I'm really excited about in exactly 10 days from today, right? Sunday, August 23rd, I will be in Boyce Park doing the Sunday Mindset Reset. It is going to be a live mental health workshop. I'm combining forces with Saging Space, that wonderful herbal witchy store down in New Kent. We're going to be doing breath work. We're going to be doing brain hum, and we're going to take a forest bath. We're going to do a sound bath. There's going to be some Reiki, and there's going to be tea. It's going to be a good old time, and it's completely free. It's a free of charge as we're working to build this up, to get our reps in, to make sure that we're able to provide quality wellness programming, right? And then maybe down the road we'll talk about tickets and this and that. But it is a completely free event. We will be collecting donations for the Mark Matasic Memorial Foundation. That is the foundation that I serve on as the board. It is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping first responders and firefighters deal with their mental health. Trying to provide more access to resources, knowledge, education. Long-term goal: establishing a young adult a shelter or young adult center, right? Trying to provide those third spaces that our young youth need. And then the long term goal is a long term residential treatment facility to try to provide the long term care that so many of our young adults, our youth need. But unfortunately, is just not out there. And if it is out there, it isn't necessarily the most helpful. And it can definitely be very expensive. And what we're working to do is provide as affordable programming and care and quality care as possible, right? And that's going to be only made possible by donations from people like yinz guys out there. So we're going to kick that all off Sunday, August 23rd at Boyce Park. really excited about that upcoming event. We're going to do it again in September, but we'll talk about that September event once we get through this August event. Um, so yeah, that's been my self care, man. I've been planning that Sunday mindset reset on that August 23rd. I've been just got my bike back, so I was able to get 8 miles of bike riding in today. That was awesome. Um, I've been continuing with my powerlifting, right? I've been doing a good job there, at least getting 2, 3 days a weekend. Last week I was able to get all 4 days in, which felt amazing. Especially considering I got the last day in on the weekend, which is traditionally when I'm like not working out. But like when I was been busy as I've been on the weekends, there hasn't been really time to work out, right? And that's why I talk about self care being a choice, right? It isn't always an easy choice. It isn't always a choice that's available to us, but it is a choice. And when we have the opportunity, when we have the ability, it's a choice we really need to work hard to make, right? And it can be, it can be, working on just 5 minutes of deep breathing in your car before you go in the house at night, right? It can work on be a mindful eating, right? Trying to slow down your eating, right? There's so much stuff. So, so yeah, man, that is where we're at. Uh, Trying to do the things, and I got it going on, StreamYard here. So that's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, the mindfulness power hour, man. Trying to do the things. Um, so after we talk about our mental health and our self care, what's going right for us, what I usually like to talk about then is our gratitude, right? And I say that because one of the things that is so important, right, is recognizing the gratitude, right? Recognizing the good in our lives, the recognizing our successes. Our brains have that reticular activating system, the RAS, right? And what that means is your perception filter looks for the things that you tell it to look for, right? It's why a positive mindset is such an important thing, because the more positive things you look for, the more positive things you will see, right? And that's why it's such an important part to me of this mindfulness power hour, to talk about that gratitude, right? To express what we're grateful for, what we're happy about, what about our lives we're proud of. It can be such an important thing. And I will admit, for some people at some points in their life, that can be a hard thing. There might be a point right now where maybe there's not much we're very happy about. There's not much that's really going our way. And if that's the case, I hear you. Let's work on that, right? Let's talk about that. Let's do something about that, right? Life is really a series of choices, and it really is what you make it. What do you want your life to look like, right? And that's one of the benefits of therapy, right? Of working with somebody like me in an actual therapy session, right? Because this isn't therapy. This is like a supplement. This is like a therapy supplement, right? This is like a therapy add-on. It's an accessory. It's a therapy bonus. This is hopefully to help turn people on to the power of therapy, right? To help people, show that, therapy isn't that bad, right? The therapy can be a little bit fun. That maybe do have something to learn, something to grow on. Because we all could use the benefit of having that life coach, right? Of helping us recognize those bigger dreams, right? Those bigger ideas, and how to break it down into those small, manageable tasks, and then to have somebody help you with the follow through. Because I think that's where a lot of our life's plans nowadays go haywire, is the follow through, right? That right, man. I say right too many goddamn times. I need to stop with the right. I'll get there. It's one of those things that the feedback groups keep talking about, so I'll work on it. Um, so what was I saying before I caught myself saying right 3 times in a sentence? Oh, I'm having a good old time. Gratitude. Yeah, we're talking about the importance of gratitude, right? And how if we don't feel like we have anything to be grateful for, right? We don't have anything that we want to talk about that we think we're proud of. That's where meeting with somebody like me can be really important to really look at that, and then figure out what it is that you want to do, right? What is it you want life to look like? What is it you want life to be? Um, what can we do about it? There's got to be something we can do about it. There's got to be a way to make small little changes here and there to bring about the larger changes, the larger successes that you're looking for. You just got to figure out how to get started. It was some of the mental health diagnoses that we deal with, right? The ADHDs, the bipolars, the this and the that's, right? It can make getting started really difficult. It can make getting started feel very, very, very overwhelming, right? And that's again why sometimes having a life coach, somebody to bounce ideas off of, can be such an important thing. Right. So what am I grateful for? I think today is almost a layup. It's almost too easy to identify for me. It's my friendship with my buddy Ronald McDonald. Not the McDonald's character. It's actually a buddy whose name I call him Ronald McDonald, and that's the name I'm going to use here to protect his identity. Um, but he's the guy to fix my bike, right? And we've had a long relationship, a lot of ups and downs, backs and forths. It's been kind of tumultuous at times as we both have our, let's just say, growing pains of adulthood, and things like that. But in our later middle age era, we really have found each other, and we go to punk rock shows, hardcore shows together down to Preserving Underground in New Ken. We just went and saw Leftover Crack at the small place at the Mr. Small's, the Fun House, Mr. Small's Fun House together. So it's just been an awesome relationship. And then I told him I had backed into something and broke and dented my wheel on my bike and kind of made it inoperable. He was agreeable on taking on that project and helping me get it fixed, which I really appreciate. Because again, with ADHD brain, with all the different things I got going on, all the different responsibilities I have, to have the ability to sit down and actually repair that and take it to the shop and do all that myself, oh man, it would probably taken me forever, right? It still probably wouldn't have been done. So he took it upon himself to do that, and he got my bike ready to go. He fixed it. He got me a new rim, fixed other things, tuned it up, this, that, and the other thing. So now my bike is rideable again, right? So now I can get to go and choose self care and get back out there in Mother Nature. I can balance the cardio with the powerlifting again, right? I'm just so unbelievably excited to have it work out that way. It's just great. It's just absolutely great. Um, to have that going for me. I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped. Really pumped to pump. Really pumped to pump. So is this birthday? Ha ha ha. So that is where that link was. I thought so. Oh, so yeah, that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for that friendship. I'm grateful for that love and support that my buddy gave me. I think that is just awesome to have gotten. I mean, I still got to give him some money for it. It wasn't like he did it completely for free, but it was a substantial repair on a very expensive bike that I got from my father-in-law for dirt cheap. Um, so I'm okay with it, right? I can ride again. That's the important part. So really, what are Yin's guys grateful for, right? What is going good in Yin's guys' lives? I'd really like to hear. I'd really like to know. Again, it is so important to focus on those positives, right? It is so important to recognize that side of things. It really is. So this is usually the part of the programming where we do some sort of breathing exercise, some sort of coping skill, right? I don't think you quite can see it on the StreamYard stream, but there's a chair right there. On the TikTok, you can definitely see the empty chair, right? And what I'd like to do today is kind of a quasi empty chair technique. For those unfamiliar, the empty chair technique is a part of Gestalt therapy. And what it basically boils down to is envisioning the person that you want to talk to, right? Visiting a loved one, a lost relative, a friend, right? Whoever you want to talk to, right? Envisioning they're sitting there and being able to tell them and talk to them about whatever it is that you wanted to talk about. Maybe it's somebody that you didn't get to say goodbye to. Maybe it's somebody you had some unfinished business with. Maybe it's somebody that you just really, really miss, right? Um, that's what I want us to do with the time that we have left. We got about 10 minutes here before I got to start prepping for my session by 12 p.m. What I'd like to do is have you guys kind of think about who would sit in that chair for you, who would you like to talk to, and as we kind of have that idea in our head of who we're talking to, right? Who's sitting in that chair. Let's take our deep breaths. Let's ground ourselves. Um, let's see where that conversation takes us. And again, we'll have about 10 minutes or so, um, and then see where we go from there. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Actually, what I want to do, I don't want to do any of that. I actually set this all up to do a certain thing, and then I didn't do it for whatever reason. So I wonder if this will work. I wonder if this will work. Oh yeah. So whatever. So you guys can't see it on this stream over here, but on TikTok, we are playing Hades 2. I am figuring out how to stream things while playing and all that kind of stuff. Uh, it's pretty cool, man. We'll see how this goes. Because the way I have it set up right now, I can't see anything in terms of the stream on the TikTok stuff. That's where I got to figure out. I was able to get this on that screen, the big screen here at some point, and now for some reason, um, I can't do it. It won't go there unless I mess with my settings, and that is just most unfortunate. So I'll have to figure that out because like, I can pause it and I can check things. Um, I wonder if I could do this, detach, and lock it, right? Lock it like that. Up a little bit. Well, I'm happy to. Oh, I guess I could do that. Hmm. Yeah, put that up there. Put this here. There we go. That works. Ha. Yeah, so this is more of a tester because what's going to happen later um, is I'm going to be doing this later. We have a gap this afternoon. We're going to do a body dubbing live stream. Uh, we'll be working on our to-do lists. Right? What do we got to get done? What do we got to accomplish? Because life is tough, right? We have a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of things to be taken care of. It isn't always easy. How to balance it all, how to fit it all in. Right? It's just not easy at all. Yeah, this is the skull one, and she carries it around like a football. And I guess like I dap people with it is how it works. It's very interesting. Very interesting weapon form. I dig it. I dig it. I definitely do. Yeah, that's right. I did just fight that guy, a giant typhoon dude. Mhm. Mhm. I just got a new familiar. I'm not quite sure what he does yet. So, this is supposed to be the Mindfulness Power Hour where we talk about all things mental health. One of the things I think I'm going to be working on is a streaming series called Video Games Are Self Care, because they very much can be. The problem with video games, like a lot of things, is it very quickly can become not self care anymore. Um, things like substances, things like cannabis, alcohol, those things can start off being used as self-care, as a relaxation agent, right? But then life can get lifey, and all of a sudden, we're addicted, and things are spiraling, and it just doesn't go well, right? So video games can much be like that, that moderating your playing, having it as a fun hobby that you can do once the rest of your business is taken care of, right? Once you've done doing all the other things, um, video games can very much be a very healthy thing, a very healthy outlet, right? Very much so. Uh, but again, moderation, right? Like I tell so many of my clients, playing 8 hours of video games in a day isn't a problem. It's playing 8 hours of video games straight in a day that's a problem, right? Uh, you play 2, 3 hours, take a break for an hour or two, play 2, 3 more hours, things like that. That's okay. You have a marathon session when a new game comes out, but most of the time you don't play that long. Again, not that big a deal. Uh, Moderation. Right? That's a big thing with a lot of things. Is finding that moderation. So yeah. So yeah, yeah. That's I guess that's we're getting down here to the nitty gritty. I got to get going here. Um, and doing the things. So I think you can hear the video game talking on the thing. Uh, so I guess final comments, final words here as we wrap this stream up. The biggest thing here that we're doing here, really for me, is continuing to show up for myself, continuing to be consistent with the effort here. Have been going at creating content for social media now for a couple years, really figuring it out still, mainly because I don't consume it much myself. I really work hard to stay off of social media because of how unhealthy it is, how bad it is for our brains. But because I know people are going to still use it, and I know it's one of the best ways to get that message out there and spread that awareness. I want to find ways to use these platforms to spread mental health awareness, to teach people more and more about mental health, on what they can do to better themselves. Um, and strengthen their existence, right? And get more out of their existence. And that's what we're trying to do here. Um, so thank you for always tuning in to these live streams. Please, Yinz Therapist 37 on the socials, August West Wellness on the Facebook. My name is Mr. Ryan. I am the Yinz Therapist from August West Wellness. Um, and I'm very proud of myself for coming here, uh, showing up today. Right. Um, it's an interesting thing. It very much is. So, and with that, I'm going to save my game. We're going to exit out of this because I have to go to work now. Um, Thursdays are my live stream day. Usually I've been at Tithy Studios, uh, but was not able to make it there this week with some of the other things I had going on. And it looks like we might actually be switching to more of a Friday stream schedule there. So again, stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, whatever you do, make sure you take care of your shoes and may your hope always outweigh your doubts.